Today, what I wanted to talk about is a question or a concern that I've seen come up multiple times, and that's around what to do when you want to cut out drinking or, lower your drinking, but your partner doesn't want to, or that drinking is something that commonly happens in your relationship, and concerns about what might happen if you decide to make a change in this area. And I want to say that this is a very common fear or concern because change is scary, right? So we don't know necessarily how our partners are going to react to us saying that we're going to make the change, how a change like this is going to affect our dynamics. Like maybe you guys always, have drinks when you go out for date night. Maybe you drink together as you're preparing dinner, you drink at parties. Like maybe alcohol is a really strong aspect of your relationship. In fact, I actually met my husband at a bar. He was with a group of friends, and it was probably that second or third glass of wine that gave me the confidence, or probably bravado, to tease him about his shirt and kind of break the ice that way, right? So alcohol was actually what started our relationship, or at least it's how we found each other, right? So, but when I met him, my husband actually didn't drink very much. He's Swiss, and in Switzerland, alcohol is just really expensive, just like everything else there. But he also didn't need it kind of in the way that I did. He would drink when he would be out with friends, possibly have a beer after a really hard day at work, but that was kind of it. Whereas I could always find a reason to drink, right? Like it's brunch, we have to have bottomless mimosas, or yes, also a hard day or partying with friends, or maybe, we just did an escape room and we had a great time, so now we need a beer to celebrate, right? So alcohol frequently became something that I would go to, and I slowly dragged him down, I guess you could say, and increased the drinking between both of us, right? So he actually increased his drinking to kind of match what it was that I was doing, although I think I still won that one, right? So, excuse me. So alcohol is probably, if you're drinking, your partner is drinking as well. So when you're going to make this change, it can be really scary. It can look like it's going to change the dynamics. So what do you do in that situation? For me, what I can say is when I told my husband that enough was enough and that I needed to stop, he actually, I prefaced it by saying that I have no expectations of what he's going to do. Like, he's welcome to keep drinking. This is about me. And I would say that is a very big key, is to manage your expectations. The fact that you want to make a change does not mean that your partner has to change, right? This is the same across any habit that you were going to change. Yes, it'd be easier if they did everything that you were going to do, but it is not necessary in order to have a healthy relationship. If you were going to, instead of drinking alcohol, if you were going to stop eating meat, there's no reason that your partner has to also stop eating meat. Like, yes, it would be easier if you didn't have to smell bacon cooking while you're, stir frying your tofu. But you can coexist in a very healthy relationship where one person does something and the other one does not. If you decide that you want to better yourself and go back to school and get a new degree, that's going to cause some friction in the relationship, right? It's probably going to change the amount of time you're able to spend together because your schedule is going to change as you have classes that you need to attend. And if you have children, that can really throw off the balance because the times that you're available for parenting duties may have to be adjusted based on your class schedule, by your courses, your projects, whatever. But that doesn't mean that your husband also has to go to school, your partner also has to go to school in order for things to stay status quo. It is okay for one person to make a change and not for the other. So that's how I presented it to my husband. And I can say that I'm very fortunate because he decided just to quit drinking, right? So he was going to support me in this. And he did it cold turkey, didn't need, Quit Lit or courses or any kind of support group in order to do it. He just decided he was done, and he actually still has not had a drink since. So I was very fortunate in that aspect, and I recognize that, and I'm very grateful that that was the reaction. But it's not necessarily going to be the reaction for everybody. And a reason, like I said, is because change is scary. There is a fear that if you are going to be doing something to better yourself, that your partner is going to be left behind, or that in some way you're going to decide that they're not enough for you or they're not the right fit for you anymore and leave them. Like, these are real fears based on the fact that change is going to affect the dynamic of your relationship. So what can you do to combat this? Like I said, you can manage the expectations of what your partner is going to be doing. You can also work on or you also commit How you come at it, I think, makes a big difference, right? So if you come at there saying, I'm never going to drink again, that's it, I'm done with alcohol, we're done with this, I'm changing my life forever, the end, that is a lot scarier than saying, I'm going to take a break from drinking, see how it's going. I don't really like the way I've been feeling, so I want to take a break and see how that goes. This is a little bit, it opens more of a curiosity loop in your partner versus red flag, everything's done, everything's changing, the world is over, kind of the end, right? So phrasing it as taking a break, which I think is a fair and honest thing to say. I think it's a little, I wouldn't personally say that I'm never going to drink again. Do I believe that? Yes. But to say it, I can't really say what's going to happen in the future. I can tell you what my intentions are and that I don't feel a need to drink at this point, but I cannot tell you everything that's going to happen in the rest of my life, right? So, phrasing it as taking a break, I think is fair and honest. And you may, after a time, decide that it wasn't the right choice for you, right? So I think it's an okay and fair way to phrase that thing as a break. And it's, like I said, it's a little less intimidating than nothing is ever going to be the same ever again when it comes to alcohol. So if you're phrasing it as a break, you can, when another thing that my mentor recommends is kind of leaving breadcrumbs, right? So what that means essentially is kind of slowly introducing the positive aspects of what you're seeing. Maybe you are sleeping better at night. Maybe you're noticing that your skin is clearing up. Possibly you've lost some weight because you're not consuming so many empty calories and then, eating Whataburger on the way home, right? So some of the positive changes may be enough to get your partner and kind of increase that curiosity loop, right? Because they say actions speak louder than words. Like, what I would not suggest is telling them all the reasons that you've decided to quit and all the reasons that they should quit with you in order to kind of level out that playing field. I think that's not going to have the same impact as seeing the positive changes that are in you. And I can say, about 2 or 3 months into me not drinking, my husband came to me and he said that I'm smiling more. And that was really heartwarming for me. And also, like, I felt bad for the girl that I was, 2-3 months before, that she was sad enough that she wasn't smiling all the time. But it also reinforced that I was actually making a good decision here, that this was the right path for me because other people are noticing that I'm happier and I would like to be happier. Let's be honest, right? That was a big part of this. Another possible little breadcrumb that you can leave is kind of opening up more about what alcohol was like for you. So you might be very honest with your partner. You might think that you tell them everything, share everything, but they're still not in your head 100% of the time, right? They have not heard every single negative word you've said to yourself the morning after, or after telling yourself you're not going to drink and then drinking too much, or just when you feel like crap after drinking. They haven't heard every single word that you've said. So when those negative feelings kind of start to fade, you can open up a little bit more and share some of those negative experiences, share some of the shame you may have felt, or the embarrassment, or the regret, feelings that are common with an overdependence on alcohol, so that they can kind of understand why it is that you're making that change and kind of move that way. Excuse me. So leaving the breadcrumbs to kind of help them understand the good things that are happening and the negative things that are falling away can help show them that this might also be a possibility for them too. But again, they don't have to ever decide that they want to quit drinking, right? It is absolutely possible to have a perfectly healthy relationship where one person drinks and one person doesn't. And again, if that fear is that this person changing and making this change in their relationship with alcohol is going to cause a divide, how can we prevent that divide from happening? Right? So if you and your partner always went out and had drinks at dinner, you don't have to not drink at dinner, right? You can still go out and for dinner and date night. And a lot of places are offering non-alcoholic beers or making mocktails for you. And you're perfectly within your right to ask them to try to make something for you when you go out. So that doesn't have to change there. If you typically spend your evenings Netflix and chilling with a glass of wine together, what else can you do to spend more quality time together, right? If you're both drinking, at some point the connection is just not there anymore. The more you drink, right, you're becoming a more uninhibited version of yourself, but also the connections just aren't there. You're not going to remember things at some point in the evening. So How can you do something that's going to bring you closer together? Something my husband and I love to do is to play board games. Actually, we had a very small wedding. It was just our parents. And afterwards, we went back to the hotel. They had a lounge and we played Sorry. And there's actually a really cute photo of me. I'm in my wedding dress and I'm kind of snarling at him because I lost in Sorry yet again. But playing board games is something that we love to do. We love escape rooms. We love that kind of solving problems and winning and, a little bit of competition in there as well. So board games are a fun way to connect. Like, what else can you do together that's going to bring you closer, right? You could, can you take a class together, right? Can you go dancing? Can you take a fitness class together? Can you sign up for some new hobby? Can you go learn a language? Like, these are activities that don't have to center around alcohol, but they're actually forcing you to grow a little bit, to develop, and you can have honest and meaningful conversations during them, right? So it doesn't have to mean that if you're not drinking together, that time has to be spent apart. It's absolutely not the case. You can find new ways to incorporate that growth together, to stay and spend the time together, which is really what your partner wants at the end of the day, right? That fear of change is, like I said, is based on them thinking that you are going to grow apart from them, that there's going to be some kind of divide. But if you are in a healthy relationship, I think that what your partner wants at the end of the day is for you to be happy. Now, if your partner doesn't want you to be happy, that's not my area of expertise. I would ask you to, or I would challenge you to maybe reflect on that and whether this is a relationship that's still serving you. If your partner just simply doesn't want you to be happy or doesn't encourage your happiness, that may be something that you want to investigate further. But let's assume you're in a relationship where your partner does want you to be happy. If they can see the changes that you're making, they're going to want to support that, right? As long as it's not kind of ending the relationship or forcing you to grow apart. And I just do not believe that that is necessarily the case, that you have to either drink together or be apart. I would challenge you to explore different ways that you guys can grow together, and you may be the instigator of that. The less you drink and the longer you go without alcohol, you're likely to find more energy, more excitement. And let's be honest, you may have spent a lot of time drinking and pretty much only drinking, right? Like drinking and watching a movie, drinking and watching TV, drinking and sitting around with friends, like drinking and not really doing something very stimulating. So when you quit drinking, you're probably going to itch to relieve that boredom. Alcohol relieves boredom only in the sense that it helps you care less that you're bored, right? So if you want to relieve that boredom, you're probably going to be encouraged to try new things and to do new things. And absolutely bring your partner along. If you can't think of anything that you want to do, ask them. There is likely something that your partner is interested in beyond sitting down with a bottle of beer, and see if you can get involved in that. See if you guys can do that together, right? So what I want to say is it can be really scary to make this big change. Absolutely. You 100% do not know how your partner is going to react. That can be a good thing and a bad thing, right? The partner could be completely against it, try to sabotage you, be unwilling to accept that. Or you could be a positive influence and they can start to realize that maybe they don't want to drink as much. They may not quit ever. They may not ever make a change, but they may see the growth in you and kind of start to follow suit. I can tell you that I've had friends that have come to me completely, unannounced or uncalled for and just said, hey, I've actually been drinking less, and that it's heartwarming to me that I'm setting an example where they're starting to realize, like, maybe I don't need this as well. But it was not from preaching. I don't talk to my friends about why I don't drink. They're welcome to tune into my Instagram lives or whatever, but I'm not here to preach. I'm not here to tell anybody what they should be doing. I'm here to help if that's the choice that you want to make. Right? So there's a possibility you may be expecting the worst, but what if it all works out for the best? Like, what if your partner sees how much happy you are, how much healthier you are, and they decide to take that journey too? And then the two of you can continue to build this beautiful, fantastic relationship. Now, like I said, very scary. It's a very common fear. You're in the same boat as a lot of people. But why does it have to be a bad thing? I guess would be my question. What if it all worked out? What if this was the best thing that you ever did for the two of you? So, hope that was helpful. Have a great day. I'll see you later.